The Chicago Blackhawks get back in the win column, defeating Anaheim, 5 unanswered goals. They win it 5-3. We're going to talk about the whole game on this episode of Cue the Dagger. Do we need to talk about the first period? I feel like we shouldn't even talk about the first period. I mean, that was probably the worst period. It was probably the worst 17 minutes, 15 to 17 minutes I've ever seen the Hawks play, uh, which says a lot if you've been watching the past few years. Just a brutal start. I mean, no pace at all. They're down 2-0 45 seconds into the game. Um, which is rough. I mean, the first play of the game, the Anaheim scores 15 seconds in. You match the Bedard line up against the Carlson line. I felt good about that matchup. But 15 seconds in, Vlasic pinches at center. He misreads the play. Gets stripped. There's a 2-on-1. Crevier can't block the pass. Cross crease goal. Um, that's one I don't blame Spencer Knight on. I think it would be unfair to blame Spencer Knight on that. I mean, you have a 2-on-1 perfect cross crease pass, perfectly placed shot. I don't think you can blame Spencer Knight on that one. If anything, I'll blame Vlasic on the pinch, but it was a bouncing puck. But if you pinch, you got to be sure. And it didn't work out for him. And 15 seconds in, it's 1-0 Anaheim. And then I could not believe my eyes when about 30 seconds later, well, first of all, they respond to the first goal by again putting that Dickinson line out there, the Dickinson Mikheyev shutdown line. Except instead of Donato, they had Oliver Moore on that line tonight. They ice the puck. They lose the faceoff. They get caught. Or sorry, they get hemmed in, and Zellweger walks in tight, gets a shot on goal. Now there wasn't much of a screen to it. It was a defensive breakdown, but it was kind of a clean shot to the net. So that's one where I don't want to blame Knight, but you would like a save there, especially from Knight. But I don't directly blame him on that. I mean, you ice the puck and then you get hemmed in. So you know, uh, you know, if you're down, it doesn't matter what the goals are. If you're down 2-0, 45 seconds into a game, it's probably not the goalie's fault. And then just a few minutes later, they would go down 3-0 on a point shot. I forget who it was. He just throws it on the net. Kaiser, can't tie his man up in front of the net, and it gets deflected in. So another one I don't blame Spencer Knight on. Kaiser can't tie up his man, and his man deflects it in. So it's one I don't blame Knight on. But Anaheim, I'll give credit to Anaheim. I mean, they came out of the gates flying, and they played really well. They were throwing so many pucks on net from the point. They were just hounding point shots. They were throwing everything on the net. I believe at one point they were up like 8-2 in shots pretty early on. Uh, and then we get a power play late in the period. Bedard puts it in front for Nazar, throws it on net, gets tipped in by Bertuzzi, and the Hawks have some life. The building has some life to it. Um, and then Anaheim would take another penalty right after, and that would carry over to the second. But outside of that, 2, 3 minutes at the end of the first period where there was some life in the building. I mean, the Hawks, like I said at the beginning, that was just some of the worst hockey I've ever seen the Chicago Blackhawks play. Shots are 10-5 Anaheim at the end of the first period. We go into the second, the dreaded second period for the Blackhawks, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty nervous. I was expecting the floodgates to open and for Anaheim to get, pot 2 or 3 goals in the second period. But the Hawks came out flying. They came out with pace. They came out how they normally come out in the first period. Um, I noticed kind of all night, I felt like the Hawks were a bit sloppy in the neutral zone. I think you could probably say the same for Anaheim. There was a lot of sloppy misreads and mispasses in the neutral zone. Teravainen has a break somewhat early in the second that he drops it back to Burakovsky. Burakovsky gives it back to Teravainen. Teravainen tries to give it to Nazar. I thought it was 2 or 3 passes too many. I think Teravainen should have shot the puck initially when he brought it in. Wasn't thrilled with Teravainen's game tonight. He had, I'll praise him a little bit later on one of the goals, but overall, I just didn't see it from Teravainen tonight, except for the one play. Moore was really noticeable. Oliver Moore was very noticeable in that period, creating pressure, hounding pucks like a maniac, and creating turnovers or creating sloppy plays from the Anaheim defense. And then Vlasic gets called for a trip, and he is baffled. And you see the replay; he doesn't even touch the guy. I think it was Seneca doesn't even touch him. And credit to the refs, they overturned the call. So, that was another one where I thought, great, here we go. The Hawks are getting screwed again. They didn't get screwed last game, but it's back to it this game. And credit to the refs. I thought they officiated this game just fine. Um, and they owned up to their mistake and they overturned the call. So credit to them. And then, the first line comes out for the Hawks, and Burakovsky makes a great play in his own end to chip it up to Bedard for a 2-on-1. Bedard does a great job selling the shot. He doesn't even look at Ryan Green once on that play. He's selling shot the whole time. The D bites on it, and Bedard no look right tape to tape to Ryan Green, and he bangs it home. And the Hawks are within one, just like that, with 13-17 to go in the second period, and you're feeling good. Like it's okay, they're back in it. They've played a solid 7 minutes of hockey here in the second period. And they kept it going. I mean, they were just buzzing after that goal. It was all Chicago after that goal. Knight made a huge save on a 2-on-1. I want to say it was Cutter Gauthier. Um, Knight makes a huge save. Then the Hawks get a power play, and a gripe I have with the power play is it just the first unit didn't have it tonight. They put Burakovsky back on the top unit, which I thought was good. I thought that kind of hurt them in Nashville or against Nashville the other night. So they put Burakovsky back on the top unit. But the first unit, they just couldn't get anything going tonight. They couldn't sustain any pressure. They couldn't keep possession. Anaheim kept clearing the puck. Their entries weren't great. They just didn't have it tonight. But that's okay because the second unit stepped up. Teravainen gets the puck from Levshinov, and credit to Teravainen here. Overall, I didn't think he had a great game, but on this goal, he makes a great play. He carries it into the zone. He draws three Anaheim Ducks to him, and then he finds Dach wide open in the slot. Dach makes no mistake, and you have a tie game late in the second. Um, Hawks again are buzzing after that. Their zone exits are clean. Their zone entries are clean. I thought Renzel was moving the puck really well. He was skating good. Again, I kind of talked about him in the last game, but I thought Sam Renzel has been great uh since really I called him out in my video. I'm sure he saw the video and took it personally. So I'll take the credit for that. But yeah, third period's the same story. The Hawks come out flying. They have good pressure. Levshinov was pretty quiet all night, but I thought he had some good moments in the third period. He was skating the puck well in the offensive zone, and he ends up drawing a penalty. Could have drawn two penalties, but just gets one for a trip. Um, uh, and then the first unit goes out there again, and it's a defensive breakdown. Anaheim ends up getting the puck in the Hawks zone. Artem Levshinov leaves Alex Killorn all by himself in front of the net. He gets the puck, and Knight makes a phenomenal first save, but Killorn buries the rebound. And I'm thinking, fuck, like, it's slipping away from us here. Anaheim's getting momentum back, and they're going to get one after a shorthanded goal. But the video team calls for a challenge, Hawks challenge, and it was pretty clearly offside. Saw the replay and thought, okay, you can never really feel too sure with coaches challenges and replay reviews, but that one felt pretty good. You kind of knew that one was coming back. So that was huge for the Hawks. Keep this game tied. Like I said, it was a pretty clear offside. And then as a response to that, on the next face-off, with a minute 45 to go in the power play, or a minute 35, whatever it was, majority of the power play. Um, Blashill throws the second unit out, and I thought, that's good. The second unit's been better tonight, and that was abysmal defensive zone coverage by the first unit. They didn't deserve to be out there. So Blashill puts the second unit out there, and um, they do their thing for a little bit. Nothing crazy comes of it, and then the first unit gets back out there. Um, Killorn goes to clear the puck. Credit to Dach, he kind of one hand swats at the stick of Killorn, causing Killorn to bobble it. Killorn kind of chips it back. Bedard's all alone in front, and a beautiful goal by Connor Bedard. I mean, that was unbelievable. That was his 16th of the year. Um, what a goal. And a great play by Dach. He's not going to get an assist on it, but I think he deserves one. That was a great play by Colton Dach. Anaheim's pressuring. The Hawks have the lead. Anaheim really put their foot on the gas. Spencer Knight came up really big in the final 4 minutes, making some great saves. He absolutely robbed Beckett Seneca with 3:50 to go. Um, Hawks ice it. Another face-off. They end up winning the draw. Bedard, from a distance, puts the empty netter in, his second of the game, his fourth point of the night, and he's just giving it to the Anaheim Ducks bench. You love to see that. Like, he just starts chirping away at the Ducks bench. I think it was probably towards Mason McTavish. They were kind of button heads all night. Teammates in the World Juniors, but not friends tonight. But yeah, you love to see that from Bedard. He's taken that A on his jersey and he's really running with it. He's become such a leader on the ice, and there was a little bit of doubt before with me, with who the next captain should be. I thought it should be Alex Vlasic, and I still think Vlasic would be a great choice. But there's almost no doubt in my mind now that Bedard deserves the C. He's going to get the C, and who knows, maybe we'll see it as soon as next season. But that's a whole other video. Uh, and then the Hawks close it out. Rough stuff after. Bedard and McTavish go at it. Murphy jumps McTavish. Chaos ensues for a little bit. But that's all she wrote. Hawks win it 5-3. What a game. I thought, again, they had an abysmal first period. One of the worst I've seen them play. One of the worst stretches of hockey I've seen them play in a long time. But credit to them, they followed up with a huge 40. And credit to Spencer Knight for not letting those two goals get to him in the first minute. He stood tall in the final 40. He played a really, really good game. Yeah, he was great. I thought Moore had a great game. Like I said, he was hounding pucks below the goal line. He was a forechecking machine. The speed is just so noticeable out there. I thought Renzel had a good game. Smooth skating. He created some opportunities in the offensive zone. I thought his breakouts were a lot cleaner. Seems to be using the body a little bit more. Maybe still not as much as you'd want, but he's starting to. I thought Colton Dach was all over it tonight. Like, even the goal aside and the play to keep to get the Bedard goal aside, I thought he was all over it. He was very noticeable, very physical tonight. I'd actually be curious to check what his ice time was because it felt like he was out there quite a lot, and deservedly so. I thought Doc was fantastic tonight. I thought Vlasic had his ups and downs. I kind of, gave it to him on that first goal, but I thought he made some great plays as well. He had some ups and downs in that game. Overall, I thought Vlasic had a good game. Already spoke on Knight, like normal. Knight had a great game. The Bedard-Greene chemistry is really coming along. I thought obviously Bedard 4 points, had a great game. I think Greene, Greene gets ripped a lot for being on that first line. I love Ryan Green on that first line. I love the Bedard Burakovsky Green line. I personally, I'm okay running with it the rest of the year. I mean, until Frondel's here, maybe you're a cancer, but um, I love Ryan Green up there. I think he's perfectly fine. Like he adds a defensive aspect to that line. If Bedard gets waived, you trust Green in the faceoff dot. And he has some offensive instincts too, and he can make some great passes and he can put the puck in the net sometimes. He's also struggles with that sometimes, but he can score too. Um, and I thought Crevier had a good game. Like always, I mean, Crevier is kind of a silent killer out there, but I thought he had a great game. And kind of the one guy I would say didn't have a good game, like I said, is Teuvo Teravainen. I thought he had a really slow start. He looked really slow. I didn't really like his decision making. The only thing that doesn't apply to is that Colton Dockle, which I thought, I thought that makes up for his game. Just that play alone draws three guys, has eyes on the back of his head and finds Colton Dock in the middle, and Dock makes no mistake. So, overall, I thought Tavo had a bad game, but that was such an unreal play on that goal that I think it kind of balances out and you take it. What matters is they got 2 points. They moved to 11-9-6 now, or 11-9-5. 11-9-5, I believe. Yeah. But yeah, they've finally snapped that losing streak. They lost five before this. Like they needed to win, and they beat a really good Anaheim team, and they did it very admirably. Going down 3-0 early and showing the fight, and that win has got to feel really good for this team. Not only because of the five straight losses, but because of how they won this game. That's got to feel good for the guys. I'm really hoping they can carry that momentum into LA. And is it LA next? I got to check the schedule, but I believe it's LA next, and that's going to be a good one. I'm excited for that. Bedard now has 37 points, 17 goals, and is tied for second in the league in points with Macklin Celebrini. Of course, they're behind Nathan McKinnon, who I want to say has like 44 points in 25 games. So I don't know if anyone's catching him this year. I think he's going to just keep running away with it. But yeah, overall, great game. So good to finally see the Hawks back in the win column. Follow me over on Twitter and TikTok. There's a lot of good stuff over on Twitter. I'm always talking about the Hawks on there. Very active. That's the best place to reach me. Leave a like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you thought of this game, and I will see you in the next episode of Cue the Dagger.